the final, but certainly not the least important panel discussion we will hear today is on digital transformation and AI in PES. Moderator is Ms. Cristina Mereuta. She serves as a head of unit for the Skills and Jobs Knowledge Hub at the European Training Foundation. Cristina has extensive experience in policy. Yes, I will make short, I will share it. I delete half of the extensive experience in policy analysis, research, and capacity building focused on strengthening skills system and labor market policies, etc., etc. She has really, really great experience, and she includes roles, that experience includes roles in the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection of Romania, then Council Employment Committee, cooperation with different international organizations such as International Labour Organization, OECD, Council of Europe, etc., etc., etc. Dear Cristina,
thanks a lot, Sanela. Really, it's a great pleasure, but also a challenge to manage the last session of the event. We are relatively on time, so I hope we will have sufficient time to go and listen all the presentation and also have a great exchange of questions at the end. I want just to, for the introduction, to mention recent work that we've tried, of course, as an agency, also to document the labor market and the skills demand changes and challenges that are induced by AI, and my colleague who led Umuhan Bardak, who led the research, at a certain point she got desperate because every other day there was a new huge research and we could not close our own research. So I said, and we have realized that our own research and book would become obsolete in like a couple of weeks. And I said, just close it. And our conclusion is that, of course, the jury is still out when it comes to AI impact on our life, on our societies, economies, labor market. But the jury is not out when it comes to the impact on the public employment services, the need to adapt the employment policies, education, training offer, and so on and so forth. So we really need to keep up with these developments, and there is an effort, and I think the structure of this panel shows also that there is a need for a public-private effort as well. So we have also colleagues representing the, let's say, entrepreneurial initiative for development of new digital solutions, also to implement and to upscale and so on, and of course colleagues representing the public employment services. Allow me to briefly introduce you all speakers in the beginning, as that you understand the structure and the diversity of people speaking now in this panel. I would like to start with Mr. in the order of, let's say you have already the agenda, so I simply start in the order of speaking now, and I start with Mr. Peter van der Bel. He called himself as an early internet pioneer, so we can also blame him for all the things that we live now and the challenges. No, I'm just joking. So we have colleagues. Peter has been working at the cross-section of the behavioral science, technology, and design. I think this is a very, very interesting feature, because often when we look at the research and the assessment of the impact, sometimes it's in a fragmented, parallel, and kind of tunnel vision when it comes to the assessment of this impact and what does it mean for organization. He is a founder and curator of the Center for Applied Product Personality Research, and his objective is to help promising people and promising organization in realizing their innovation, particularly when it comes to the AI and digitalization. Peter will join the floor and the speaking slot, let's say, with Mr. Ludger Beller. Ludger is a digital marketeer as a former coordinator of the update of the occupational classification of my own country, now I see a lot of, and that's really an interesting development also when it comes to occupations. So Ludger is looking at the transformation. He has held management positions in large enterprises, such as Philips and Randstad Holding. So he was in this, in the middle of this transformation, but he also contributed to interesting startups like Skill Lab. I would mention that now. I think he also, and it's important to mention that he also was one of probably the one to set up an internet staffing agencies around 2000 and later, and managed the implementation of job matching engines in various countries, delivering and supporting the public employment services. Then we move to Aygun Mehraliyeva, who is the head of the International Partnership Division at the State Employment Agency of Republic of Azerbaijan. The State Employment Agency is coordinated by the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection of Population. She leads on the international cooperation strategy of the organization. She looks at building partnerships and with global institutions, also to advance cooperation on employment policies, on labor market initiatives, and workforce development. It is important, she mentioned in her presentation, that projects, joint agreements, negotiation, all these elements that are helping the Public Employment Service of Azerbaijan to grow and to consolidate the relations with the other institutions. And of course, she also had, and this is an important element, she also has previously professional experience in the Ministry of Science and Education. So I'm sure that in your work you are able to connect these two sectors. And finally, but not the least, of course, Luka Djurickovic, Deputy Director. I apologize if I've not pronounced it correctly. He is Deputy Director of the Employment Agency of Montenegro. He has a lot of experience in legislation, employment, protection of unemployment, the rights of unemployment people, and legal arrangements, legal affairs when it comes to the implementation of regulation related to employment policies, to social security coordination, and unemployment rights. But interesting, Luka, before joining the employment agency, he also has a long-standing experience in the Ministry of Finance, a dear ministry when it comes to implementation and funding of reforms. And I'm again hopeful that Luka is also addressing and trying to use his former professional connections and experience to help the employment agency when it comes to staffing and when it comes to resourcing. Often, unfortunately, and that's my professional, let's say, experience, that despite all the strategies and the reform prioritization and so on, if the Ministry of Finance is not convinced and they don't trust this pathway, unfortunately, all these dreams, our dreams, are somehow killed in the beginning. But okay, let's hope that now, compared to my experience in public administration 15 years ago, it's not anymore a reality for many countries. Now we are ready to start the panel and the presentation, and then also the discussion. So I invite Peter and Ludger to take the floor here. We have the presentation ready, I assume.
See the beauty of it. As this bird is showing off his feathers eagerly, we are also looking forward to share our experience and thoughts about what's happening in the market. But first of all, a big thank you to the organizers of the conference, of course, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Sanela, Ivan. Thanks for the warm reception yesterday evening, and I look forward to tonight. and of course the invite of Wapes to the presentation here. Maybe Peter and I are also a bit of a different breed, as Cristina already mentioned. I love his jacket. Yesterday he was wearing a yellow jacket, I think, yesterday evening. So maybe you see something similar. Peter and I know each other for 35 years, telling something about how important relationships are. And he knows me 35 years, together that's 70 years, and that's almost his age. No, actually it is his age. I'm allowed to disclose this personal data. And all those 70 years we worked in HR services and HR technology. Showing this bird is to tell you about showing signals to explain hidden skills. This bird looks great, so apparently it's good in getting proper food. It has all its feathers, so probably it's very social, it's not often in fights, or it can outrun the others. So signaling is about showing skills that are not maybe on your diplomas, and it's a process our counselors constantly do. Picking up signals, making a judgment, and go from there. We bought a subscription for this bird at Cloud AI and Tropic. And we asked AI to improve. What do you think of it? You like it more? Who likes it more? Nobody. Well, then that's the end of my speech. We better stop with AI. More colors, more signals, but no real-life matching anymore. The information is gone. It's out of the signals. In our experience, and Peter built those tests, in the old days it was all offline testing, online testing and assessments became more used. But many of them still today are heavily text-based. And if I look at the clientele of employment services, there's a big group with literacy problems. And if I look at the fulfillment rate, then we see less coffee. We see less fulfillment of all those tests that are out there. So that made us, and it takes long. And yesterday it was said already that younger people don't have the time to sit 5 minutes. Then their screen is already screaming again. So that's why we shift, and especially Peter with Kapper, shift his focus more to images. And together with the University of Delft, they did extensive research over many years in all kinds of PhD trajects. So it should be accessible, mobile first probably. It should be hybrid, leaning much more on images and less text. It should be adaptive, those tests, meaning that your AI models, your big data models know about how personality factors hang together. And if you give silly answers, the machine will keep asking till it understands how and see logical and normal patterns. So AI will keep asking you. Just to come back, a picture is processed 60,000 times faster than a text. And I will not go into this, but if you ever read a book on psychology, please pick up Thinking Fast and Slow from Professor Kahneman. It's in there. We have kind of different brains. We have brain part that is really focused on imaging, processing, and that's much, much faster. If Peter was here, he would certainly go on with images, because that's easier to process for us. But sorry, I put in some text, so you need to work a bit harder, I'm afraid. It's not so easy. New technology is introduced constantly, but it's very hard to study the effects. And I go back to the 60s, September 1916, there was the first presidential debate on television. 70 million people watched it on television in the US, and I think even more than 100 million listened to it on the old-fashioned way on the radio. And what's interesting is that after this debate there was research, and Nixon was a Republican, but the radio listeners stick to Nixon, and the television Republicans, the television watchers, moved to Kennedy. And if you again look at images, you see how strong their impact is. Nixon was in a very light suit. He was sweating due to the lights on him, and he's trying, kind of covering up. Maybe this was a self-fulfilling prophecy because history and movies tells us about that he was covering up. But that was not what he was intended to do here. So you see the strength of images. And again, maybe we should abandon TikTok at all and only listen to the radio. I don't know. April 23. A real interesting other date that gave fuel to a great study. And that's where we took our title, AI Ruined the Recruitment Process. Geldin and Silbert from Dartmouth College and Princeton studied the impact of AI, large language models, on labor market signaling. And there are millions, maybe billions of applications, resumes, cover letters on my computer at home, on HR, in HR files, but it's very difficult to access them. In this case, Gelding and Silbert took data from a gig economy platform named freelancer.com. And these are equations 56 and 57, as you see, so roll up your sleeves. We will start with number 1 and really get into it. No, not really. We are borrowing the feathers of these researchers, which a deep bow to them a bit by what they worked on and how they made visible what's happening in the labor market, especially with these signals. Just to give you an idea, maybe you're not so familiar with the gig market, but if you look at the US, there are 17 million users on this freelance.com. In total, these platforms contribute about $1.3 trillion to the US economy. And if you look at in Europe, we are almost halfway, but it's growing at a frightening speed of about 20% a year. In these platforms, you have everything, all the data you want to study. It's job ads, it's applications, application letters, it's also bidding and the tariffs that people are hired for. I'll go to this one fast. You all know about the labor market and how it works. It's a job post, a bid, a selection, work delivered, paid, etc. But what's more interesting, Freelancer started in 2009. In 2024 alone, 1.1 million jobs were posted on this platform. It generated in 24 130 million in payments. And what did they do? In 23, they were so kind to add AI for the freelancers. So, well, it was not so kind, the freelancers had to pay for it, but it was a tool so that they could speed up and improve their applications and application letters. And here the Galden and Gilbert uses the theory of Michael Spence, who won a Nobel Prize for it in 2001, and that's about labor market signaling. If you look at the first 5, 1 minute, ooh, that's... Then it's very important to see that it's... they took a lot of signals and judged and took AI to look at them. This you can expect. You get much more words in an application letter. But this you will not expect. It takes you 8 minutes to write an application with about 7, 8 signals, and AI can do it in 10 seconds. But what really happened in this is that they could access and see that now, having introduced this tool, that a higher bidding bids were not about 20% less used as the lower winning bids. So the signals sending to the employers were completely gone. In the opening session, I was talking to Petra, and basically she explained this. On the one hand, you have a job computer writing your resumes, and on the other hand, you have another computer judging what's coming in. And there are also match engines in the middle. So if AI rewrites our text, then we need to adapt to a new world. And I think that we need more images. A personality match might be a solution. Of course, what SkillLab explains about look at skills of people. But even there, the signaling effect is not that strong. And look at cultural and personality fits in teams and organizations. I'll skip to this. Maybe this is nice to see. We focused on the military, which is in need of many different people at this moment all over Europe. And even there it's one job in the military. No, there are many different jobs, and you can see that different personality types fit better with certain job roles within the military.
Thanks a lot, Peter. I don't think it works. Yeah, I think we need to conclude. It's a very, very interesting presentation, and I think we will also have time to go in that during the question session. I'd like also to invite Ludger for his quick input on the topic. If you want to continue the presentation. No? No, yeah, okay. So then you get another 2-3 minutes. I thought that also Ludger would speak.
Okay.
Thank you. Please continue.
I looked at the timing, so well, we think that if you think about assessment, it should be fast, fun, and fair, and of course data-driven. And if you think about all the heavily text-based assessment, that's not that inclusive, as a lot of people are not so great at using text. Let me give you an example, a real-life example of a travel company. There we got in 508 applicants. They just scanned the QR code in a job ad. They did the personality test, and in the end, we were able to there were 84 people that accepted the offer, about 16%. And to my knowledge, that's quite high in this industry. Yeah, from too polished words to proven behavior. And that's, I think, where we need a different way of assessing our candidates. And from that assessing also, the counseling will change. Then my main conclusions. Signaling of cover letters, CVs is losing value. We think that matching on personality, on skills and work preferences should be taken into account much, much more. And yeah, what can a PES do? On strategic level, develop an AI-focused strategy. Also, and I just mentioned it because I hear it nowhere, think about the EU DI wallet. That's of course only in the 27 EU countries, but that will be rolled out end of this year. That's pretty close. And that's not only a digital identity, but I can also store my diplomas, my skills, etc. On tactical level, think about your work processes and your IT systems. They need to be revised with this knowledge. And on operational level, give your people the tools, the time, and the training. And I think WAPES is already setting up workshops around AI. So that's helping, but it's going really, really fast. I use AI on a daily basis, also in fields that I'm not so knowledgeable, and I give the output to people that are knowledgeable, and they are blown away.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Peter and Ludger, for this very interesting and scary to some extent introduction. I really hope that the recruitment process won't be just a dialogue between two bots. And thanks a lot for issuing, let's say, or summarizing these potential solutions, how the public employment services should address that. And indeed, the biggest impact would be on how we counsel people, how we get them prepared for the new world. Thanks a lot, Peter. Now we move to colleagues that are dealing directly with this transformation, and we will have an example from Azerbaijan, how the public employment services is trying to push forward the digital transformation of the institution, including a data-driven and client-centered PES model. Please, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone. Cristina, I will try to keep it short. I understand that it's the last panel. First of all, I want to say a big thank you to my Bosnian colleagues and to the WAPE Secretariat for the opportunity to speak today. It's my big pleasure and it's a big honor to be here in beautiful Sarajevo for the second time in my life, and for the first time to share Azerbaijan's experience in transforming like the public employment services into more model and digital and data-driven model. Can I see my presentation, please? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Just a second. Okay. And today, I would like to present how we moved from the public, traditional public employment service delivery system to a digital ecosystem that is more transparent, is more data-driven and client-centered. And I also want to mention that this transformation has not only improved the internal processes in our agency and in our ministry, but it changed the way how now different employers, different employees, citizens, and different institutions, both public and private, cooperate and interact with the labor market. And before presenting our digital tools, I think that it's important to say why these changes became necessary. First of all, like many countries, Azerbaijan went through different challenges. First of all, our procedures, the labor procedures and employment procedures were slow and in some cases not efficient. And this process was time-consuming and paper-based, both for the citizens and for the employers. Second, there was the limited access to career guidance services. Not everyone in our country, unfortunately, could easily get the services they needed, and it's a case with the vulnerable group, and it's case with the people living in the rural areas. And the third, it's like the lack of centralized data coordination, and because of this, many processes like planning, monitoring was not based on the real data, and it was complicated. So like our objectives became clear. We somehow needed to centralize our labor relations and employment procedures. We needed to customize our employment services, and we needed to make this decision-making process based on the real data. And I want to mention that in our agency, in our ministry, we see like the digitalization process not as a part of some kind of technical upgrade, but it's a part of the broad social reform that we're going through in our country. And from this slide, you may see some digitalization rate. Overall, the digitalization rate in our country is 94%. It's the case with the employment services. The number of services our agency is providing now, it's the 18, and 15 of them are digitalized. And to support this process, like we've built a digital ecosystem. Like before, we have different fragmented tools, but they are not working so well. But now they are integrated, and some projects are dedicated to the career counseling. Some projects they support the labor management system. What the point is that they now they are in the form of the ecosystem. And I want to start with our flagship project. It's the AMAS, which means the Labor Relations and Employment Subsystem. AMAS is the main tool and the main program in our country for the labor management and for the employment services. It serves as the unified platform that brings together like different stakeholders. It's the employers, it's the employees, job seekers, unemployed persons, different public and private institutions. And the point is that this system moved us from the paper-based management to a digital labor management and employment service delivery. And now the system, it serves as a one-stop shop for all the services provided by our ministry and the different agencies operating under the ministry. As you may notice from its name, this platform consists of two parts. It's the labor relation part and the employment part. So our labor relation, labor domain, consists of digital labor contract. Like it's possible to conclude the labor contracts with the system. It's also the digital personal accounting system, the calculation and payment of labor expenses, and so on. And the employment domain of AMAS, through this domain, it's possible to register and the registration of the job seekers and unemployed persons is possible. Also, it's possible to apply for different active labor market policies that are provided by our agency. And you may see the other services that are available from the employment domain as well. I will not deep dive. I guess I have problems with my presentation. So the main point with the system that it serves for a big amount of the stakeholders. For example, for the citizens, it supports employers, job seekers. For the governmental institution, it links governmental institution with the private service providers such as banks, different organizations, etc. And for the monitoring, it helps to coordinate the processes between the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection of Population and between the different entities that are operating under the umbrella of our ministry. And this is the another tool, the centralized career tool, and this tool combines like different career tools that we are providing into one platform. It consists of the employment ranking of graduates, the profession map, the CV Arat, it's like create your CV platform, a look career and the job and the work values tool. And the like idea here is also simple, like instead of fragmented career tools, citizens now have like one ecosystem for career planning and for the self-assessment. I just want to talk about the employment ranking of graduates. This platform presents information about, present data about the graduates from different local universities that are operating in Azerbaijan over the past 5 years. And what is interesting that this platform helps applicants to better understand how graduates from different universities they are presented and they are performing in the labor market. Like in other words, it connects education outcomes with employment realities of a country that I think is very important. And I will not deep dive in this tools of the decentralized career portals, but all of them, like there are the career tools and self-assessment tools that are open for our citizens. And another initiative is the workforce index. The workforce index, like it measures how well applicants are prepared for the labor market in our country. You can see the objectives of this program. It's the measuring the applicants like non-academic activities, is promoting balanced development, addressing the skill gap. And from the this slide, you can see overall the scoring system. This how the workforce index tool looks like. And here are the digital services that are under development. As the digitalization is an ongoing process, we still have more to do, and these are the examples of our project that are under development. And this slides like showed our international recognition. I think that this is the proof that we are on the right way. And like to sum up my presentation, I want to say that we're really proud of what we have done so far in our country, but taking into account that it's the ongoing process, we still have more to do. So we're ready to cooperate, we're ready to share our experience and of course learn from our international colleagues. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Aygun. And now we go to Montenegro, to Luka. He titled his presentation Revolution of Employment Services. Maybe just to add that Montenegro is now preparing very diligently for the accession to the European Union, and indeed this is a revolution that is required for services and public administration in Montenegro to get prepared for that. Please, Luka.
Thank you. As they would say in this region of ours, you save best for the last, so here I am. I'm joking for that. Greetings, everyone. Just want to say what a privilege and honor is to speak here in front of you. It is a great honor for me. A big thank you and shout out to the organizers and to the WEBS team, because this would not be possible without them, and everything is top notch, and congratulations on that. And I want to thank our dear hosts from Bosnia and Herzegovina, who are so generous and so kind and so friendly with us. And we are neighbors, so we know each other, so it is easy to communicate and everything. But I must say I'm not so happy with my colleagues that came before me, because they set up the bar so high with their presentations, and I have genuine fear that I can fumble with my presentation because I'm the last and I don't want to ruin the experience. But I hope that you will forgive me. So in regard to the revolution that we have in Montenegro. I know that most of you would say, what a pretentious title, revolution, it's so pompous and whatnot, but you will see what we have done in employment agency, and you will agree with us that it is really a revolution, because in the employment agency of Montenegro, we actually didn't want to fix our IT solution. We needed a complete overhaul because we went with the strategic structured process focused on completely new IT solution. It is not fragmented solution that each sector, that each activity had their separate way of doing the things, separate modules and whatnot. And we strategized and made a revolutionary decision to shut down the servers and to create a completely new solution and new system that will be data-driven and completely interoperable with the rest of IT solutions, not only in our country but with the EU. So it is an extremely flexible digital solution and completely new idea. So why was the transformation needed? I think that most of you already know the lacks of each IT solution that you are using. You know what is wrong with it, you know how it doesn't work and what are its limitations. For us, that was the fragmentation of all these activities that we have in the employment agency. We didn't have the quick connection with each activity. It was analytically extremely limited. The key challenge was the outdated technology. I mean, you know, people that are connected with the IT, you know how long is the shelf life of each hardware, of each IT solution, and it needs constant improvement. But in Montenegro, we came to face with a serious problem because we had 22 years outdated IT hardware, IT solutions, and you will agree that you cannot put a bandage on that kind of situation. You need a complete surgery, and we went with that. So we went with a unified platform that will have completely integrated every single process in the employment agency, which is completely flexible for further development, interoperability with the national institutions and the EU institutions. I will try to be brief, but I want to bring to your attention the dates. You can see that in 2 years we went 180, completely changing the workings of the employment agency. And I want to give you my personal advice based on the experience, because I worked in the digital processes of several institutions in Montenegro, like tax administration, custom administration, Ministry of Finance. You will see the phase project definition, and you will see the phase implementation of the project. These two phases are completely different phases. In what sense? In the sense of, in the phase of project definition, please take your time. This is the bedrock. This is the foundation of your IT solution. Please do as many analyses as possible. Check the legal framework, double check, triple check, because if this phase is done incorrectly, you will have issues in the implementation phase. So take your time if you need it, 2 years, 3 years, but it needs to be done correctly. Why? Because in the implementation phase is completely different to this one. You need expedience. You need to be extremely quick for the implementation process. Why? You can set up technical requirements of your IT solution, but if it takes too long, those ideas can be obsolete, because we are living in such a fast life. The IT is evolving ever faster, and if it is obsolete, you you are going back to the drawing board. And I can tell you, in one project that we implemented, the team was constantly in this kind of loop. And at the end, they were like eating aspirins in kilos. It was so demanding and excruciatingly painful experience. But as you can see in the employment agency, everything was done so fluid because people knew what they have to do, what they have, and it was really, really fast. And one of the things that help us to implement this IT solution so fast is the EU. And I want to thank our colleagues from the EU delegation of Montenegro because of their support. Because without their funding and co-financing of the government of Montenegro, this project would not be possible. As you can see, this IT solution that we have have three segments, and that is infrastructure, end-use equipment, and development of employees. So the employees is the core of our IT. And you will see in the next slides. So I think that this slide explains you perfectly what was the situation before and what is the situation currently. Outdated equipment, IT solution completely outdated, the workflow in the employment agency completely interoperable. We couldn't I don't know, we couldn't connect with any EU IT solutions, but now after these changes, we have completely flexible, interoperable IT solution that is completely flexible to any requirements of the EU. So the most significant transformation is the shift from administrative tasks to integrated service workflow. What does that mean? You know that in most public institutions you have this menial tasks, you have so much bureaucracy, one paper needs to be sent to one agency, the same paper to the other, and so on and so forth, and that is time consuming, and basically the end users are feeling so-called, I can say, the pain of the bureaucracy. But with this IT solution, our end users of our services have everything at their palm of the hand. Extremely fast to get any service they need, any benefits they can have it extremely fast. So this is how employees as a digital core looks like. And I will be extremely brief in this sense. This slide just shows you a few glimpses of what the employees is. You have core, you have system, you have finance, and you have the portal that end users can see. But this system is completely interoperable. It talks with each other. So, for example, if a person responsible for benefits enters in the employees what a person should receive from the benefits, the finances immediately have the required information to prepare the invoice for the Ministry of Finance. So there is no waiting, there is no archive, there is no paperwork, everything is digital. And this way we can help our employees, we can help employees from the finance, we can, and at the end, the users of our services will have their rights expediently provided to them. So shifting focus from office-based procedures to user experience. I think that we covered this up already, but it is not only for employees, it is not only for the people that are using our services, but also the business sector. Everything that they are doing now is much more expedient and much more faster than it was before. So even our business sector is feeling the employees. everything is much more faster, much more fluid. The vacancy registration, application of the subsidies, and so on and so forth. We have a great response from the business sector when it comes to employees. As I said, interoperability is a key pillar of this transformation. We talked about it, and basically what we plan to do in the forthcoming period is to have all the registers from all institutions who are relevant for our workflow to be connected. This is why the legal framework is extremely important, because myself as a lawyer, I'm really keen on providing protection for each citizen, for their rights, that no one can misuse their personal information. And this platform of ours is providing just that, because we triple-checked, quadruple-checked that everything we are doing is in the legal framework. And furthermore, the interoperability is not only in regard to the national institutions, but also for the EU. I will just briefly say that there is a plan for us to be connected with EURES network, which is extremely demanding. Most of you know about that. But our system is completely flexible, and there will be absolutely no issues in that regard in the future when we become the part of EURES. As I already mentioned that, the system is designed as a module and interoperable platform, so we can, at each given moment, add new modules. So we already have changes of our legal framework. At some point of time, it is possible that Employment Agency of Montenegro will have additional jurisdictions in regard to the foreigners who are working in our country, and we will have this connection with the Ministry of Interior. So we can always add that kind of module that will help a new sector to achieve its goal and expedient its workflow. I think that we discussed the future of the digitalization of employees. Basically, the end is AI. And I would like to come to what colleague Scott Parking said in the previous panel in regard to the AI, that there are winners and losers in profession. But I believe strongly that there are winners and losers in the public institutions also, because there are institutions who are doing menial works, as we talked before. And with the AI, they will become obsolete if they do not change. And I think that Employment Agency is on the forefront of the AI implementation of in the public institutions. And I believe that we will be the ones who other institutions will come and talk to us to get some advices on that in that regard. So in the end, the benefits will of the employees already feel everyone: users, employers, employees at the employment agency, and the state at the end, because our employees platform is saving money to the state. It is improving the economy, because the businesses are developing really fast. We are already so fast in providing what small and medium businesses need in regard to the employments. So, and I already talked about the AI, and I will not take much of that time. So in conclusion, the digital transformation of the Employment Agency of Montenegro represents a multi-phase process, and I believe that in the forthcoming period we are going to build on our successes, and we will be completely digitally ready for EU. So thank you.
you very much, Luka. Now we have a bit of like 8 minutes, 9 minutes for questions and reflections from the room. I'm afraid that in the AI digital focused panel, the phone collecting information doesn't work, so questions. So I don't know if colleagues from the technical can help me, technical team. So we go a bit offline, traditional way until we sort out this issue. If colleagues in the room, just raise your hand and I'll bring the mic, please. Who wants to? Okay, so we have them here. Okay, I would start with Aygun because I think, yeah, please. Yeah, these questions on the impact. I mean, AI, digitalization, they require a lot of investments, and we've seen how much it took also in terms of resources and preoccupation and so on. Did you have the chance to run an analysis of the impact on the effectiveness of your, let's say, digitalization interventions? And from the projects that you've listed, we have this question: what had the biggest impact on the citizens in your country, and why?
Okay, thank you for the question. Yes, this digitalization process, it's really time-consuming and budget-consuming. In our case, it was like fully funded by the budget of our republic. When it comes to the measures, of course, we are like the necessary departments are measuring the efficiency and effectiveness of our system. Just like I want to give you several examples. If before the launching of several systems, the conclusion of the labor contract in our country like took 3 days, the conclusion. Yes, took 3 days and approval of the document. Now it takes 15 minutes. I think that it's a very good example how digitalization affected our country. And also there are the different sessions held between the different stakeholders that we have, and of course it's like in order to improve, we should gather the feedback throughout of this process.
Thanks a lot indeed. This continuous feedback, and although we will not have the time, I really find very relevant this question about the digital competencies of the end users, of the population of the users, which is critical to assess before embarking on all this digitalization, and it's true everywhere. I would move, and I would stay still in the public employment service universe, and I go to you, Luka. There are 2 questions that relate to what you've presented, what you said. So when it comes to digitalization and the revolution that you've explained, what is the biggest transformation? Is it a technological one or also organizational one? And indeed, this issue of interoperability comes again and again in your discourse, but also in other colleagues' contributions when it comes. So when connecting these different institutions and systems, actually, that was also a question I wanted to ask you. What is the biggest challenge? Because as I know, the employment agency of Montenegro is quite advanced. You have everything ready, but we know that collaboration and other institutions are not so ready. So when it comes to the interoperability, what is the biggest challenge?
Thank you for the question. Technology is easy. I mean, to put it simply, 1 + 1 is always 2. So technology in that regard is easy. So it is basically the organization part that is really difficult in every regard, in interoperability and using of the new technology. So the organization is the key. For example, you can have the best equipment, but if you do not do enough trainings, that equipment means nothing if you can use it at full capacity. Similarly to the interoperability, there is the will of all institutions to interconnect, but we had limitations in regard to the legal framework. So that is the main issue that we came across. And to put it bluntly, we change our laws in that regard. So in Montenegro, there is this like national unity in that regard, and every institution is completely ready to both on the IT level and on the personal level to connect each system, but the law was that limiting factor that we overcome together.
Thanks a lot. Now we go to a bit more in the technical field. We have here a question that it's not any more visible, I see now. So for you, Peter and Ludger, let me find it. There was this question about the text. How valid are the results of CAPR compared to text-based Big Five test? Have you done any research on that? Please, Ludger, maybe you take the floor now.
So with regards to the model that we use a Big Five model, which is in terms of personality the most recognized and best researched model. In 2011, we were playing with this idea of making it visual. So instead of having it verbal, we made it visual for 3 reasons. We wanted it to be fast, fun, and fair. And particularly the third F, the fairness, had to do with the validity of it. So we, working at it at the University of Delft, we thought we found a partner in the University of Geneva who were willing to do the validation for us. And luckily, not luckily, we're happy with the results. It's a very robust test, whether you are you're tested with a verbal Big Five test or with our Big Five test, the results are basically the same. And meanwhile, we have translated it into 11 languages, amongst which Korean and Turkish, for example, are the most exceptional ones.
Thanks. And Peter, the last question to you. We've heard a lot about digitalization, AI yesterday, today. Where public employment services should start, how they should start with AI, because we have different levels of, investments, preoccupations, strategies, and so on. What would be your, looking at this continuous changing landscape, what you would have, like 1, 2, 3 steps maybe?
Yeah, well,
quickly. Thanks.
Basically, the advice that I want to give to the public employment services, and I'm not naive and I'm not underestimating the checks and balances within which you need to operate. But with this technological tsunami, as it were, to cope with it, and in order to make a first step, you want to turn around all stones and see what are under those stones. And let's say you have to turn 15 stones, metaphorically speaking. When you turn the 3rd stone, you're already too late. So what I would advise you to do is simply start working with things that have proven themselves on a small scale, and also start with on a small scale, and then with people who are really in favor of the new technology, because then you don't have to take that barrier. So I would almost say just do it. That's basically it, just do it.
Thanks a lot, Ludger. I think you, Peter, would you like to add something? No? No? Okay, I think you touched also, thanks a lot for this very last point, just do it, and rely on people that are ready for change. Although we will not have the time to go for other questions, it comes up also from your questions, for example, for Luka, if there has been any resistance from the staff side, if also for Aygun, for regarding the investments, how it helped you to save resources and so on and so forth. And finally, I think this remains, and I remember that it's a recurrent discussion, how to organize it as a public employment service. Should you invest in the internal capacities, staff and so on, how to collaborate with the private outsourcing and so on, how to strike the right balance in that. These are questions that I think will remain for the next conference, I hope, of WAPES. We conclude here. I thank very much to all panelists, and I apologize for any glitches in my moderation.